Hey guys, today we have Gillette President, kind of like an aristocrat but slightly different. It's a US made razor, and inside of it we're going to put this feather blade. It's been used maybe 51 times, maybe just 50, so you can look on the details of the video, the description, and see exactly how many. Sometimes I forget to put the little dot. 20102 is the number of this Omega brush. It's been soaking for a little while. Putting the uses on it as I want to bring it into my rotation of boar brushes. Kind of bringing them all up, trying to get them all to about 23 uses before I start climbing the hill. 2017 is this soap. It's a limited edition for the Damn Fine Shave, kind of an exclusive for that online community. And it's got a nice scent to it. It's made by L&L Grooming, which changed their name and merged and stuff, becoming Declaration Grooming. And this is the Bison soap base that he has, and it's one of my favorite bases. All right. I just got out of the shower, so this is one of the few times where I've used a glycerin soap to wash my face, and that is, I've heard it's very beneficial to use a glycerin soap if you want to do a pre-wash. It just does really nice things, preparing your face for the shave, and the good news is they're super cheap. Dollar Tree has one for $1 if you're on a budget. All right. Doesn't look like it's been used too many times. You can still kind of see the pattern of the pore pattern around here. All right, now this board does have just a tiny bit of prickle last time I used it. So it probably still has that, although many of the tips have split. Very encouraging. That's why I'm using it. Shaking most of the water out. All right, let's do a 30-second load, and we'll start right there. Just kind of medium pressure, medium light pressure. The scent looks like about 7 notes according to the website. That's 20 seconds. Probably plenty, but let's just go to 30 anyway. Make a note. And there we go. All right. It's just a nice scent. I can see why. And I think the guys who selected this are kind of right online with the kind of things that I enjoy about a scent. This brush did not pick up or start creating a visible froth, as you can see. Let's just see what it turns into in the bowl. So the 7 notes for this DFS 2017 are sandalwood, orange, amber, black pepper, lemon, rosemary, and lavender. And as long as the rosemary and amber are not in high concentrations, as long as they're not in a dominant position in the blend, then I'm going to likely be a happy camper. And look at that, with just you saw that brush didn't look like anything, did it? So in a way, it's really tough to go by visual appearance of the brush in terms of how much soap you were able to load up. So that's why counting circles might be an idea if you don't happen to have a clock handy. Since I record my videos, my shaves, I have a countdown timer, or a count up timer with the duration of the video, and so I can very easily mark time. I do have hard water here, and it is chilly these days, although we're starting to see a few days of warmer weather. I have been very happy with this winter. Just some nice cold days. I'm a big fat dude, so my body's built more for the cold than the hot. The 10098 is a similar throw, similar loft here, but it's a little bit longer, like 5 millimeters. And it has this same black and metal ferrule, I'll call it. I don't know if that's the right term. And then it moves into a black plastic handle that's longer and a lot more ergonomic. However, because of that long loft, and it was also very hesitant, very reluctant to have those tips split. Indeed, these tips have split in fewer uses by far than that other brush. And I don't believe the prior owner of this, I think he said he used it about 3 times. I don't think he used any kind of break-in accelerator. So that I took that other one out of the contention, the black handle. Even though I like the handle for the ergonomic reasons, the brush, it was so long that it seemed like I was loading in the soap, and the tips of the brush were staying in the center of some of the different soap hooks while the outside moved around, you know, just because of the length of the loft. Now I've heard that some the old-timey barbers would purposefully have these longer throw brushes, longer loft, higher loft brushes, and they liked it because what they would do is actually choke up with their hands and hold the fibers, and maybe that gave them better control, or you know, obviously they liked it for some reason. But it was because of the slowness of the tips to split. Some Omegas have been known to take 3-4 years to split and get comfortable and soft, and I'm just not interested in waiting around for that. I might keep it in the rotation, whip it out every once in a while, or more likely I'll go ahead and try a break-in accelerator on it just to see what happens. Because, I mean, if I don't use it, then that's kind of a waste anyway. Looks good. Got 2 teaspoons of water in the lather. I have 2 days of growth on today. I had done a lot of traveling yesterday, and I was just too pooped to shave. Love Icarus. It's just a beautiful lather. Feels, oh, the creaminess is terrific. The slickness is just a luxury feeling. I'm sorry, I said Icarus. I meant Bison. I like Icarus better than the milk steak. And I like Bison better than Icarus. Everybody's got their preferences, you know. That's okay. The face latherers have to sit there and work it up on their face, and they value ease of lather. Whereas with me, I'm sitting here spinning in a bowl, and so the nice thing, that's another positive about the bowl, is you can be more choosy about your soaps, because you can pretty much lather anything in a bowl, whereas something on the face might take just a lot of work to get a good lather on the face. And also you can use scritchier brushes in the bowl, ones that might irritate your face if you work the lather too long, you know. But I don't like scritchy brushes, so that's kind of a moot point to me. I'm kind of in a hurry tonight, so why don't we just use this gorgeous, you know what, it looks nice, but I'm going to go ahead and I just can't help it. Put in a whole teaspoon. So now we've got 3.5 teaspoons of water in this lather. See if I overdid it, but I'm in a little bit of a hurry. I do have a little bit of that scent coming up to me. What was I smelling? I don't know. Just a little bit came up to me. We'll see how, try to remember to take a note of what kind of scent strength we have. So yeah, since this is a limited edition, you know, I do still see this soap on occasion on the used market. And so it's possible you may be able to get it if you look at the scent notes and kind of feel like that might be one for you. But maybe this shave is more for posterity and just chalking one up to the archives. So you see it's still maintaining its shape somewhat. It is moving a little bit, but still maintaining. It's not super stretchy, but let's just, I might normally take this a little further, but let's just go. Let's do it. And I forgot to use my dry hands and put the feather in the razor. So here's the feather, and there's a little signature X and dot that I will try to remember to show you every time. This one just sounds wonderful when you're screwing it in. I've got a few other twist opens like this, the vintage Gillette type, and they sometimes have a little bit of gum up in there in the works, you know, so they just don't sound as crisp and clean. This one obviously has been taken very, very good care of. I've got something, a little bit of something in my eye. All right, so a little water in my face. I did not have to do that before I started mixing my lather as my pre-shave because I took a shower, like I said earlier. Got a new bath mat. Got to get it under control. All right. So I'm going to push the brush down. I like to use that to kind of fill up the brush. See if we feel any prickle. If you do have a boar brush that you're breaking in and it is giving you a little prickle, one thing you can do, and I knew that I had too much lather in the brush, and so I scraped some of the side lather back into the bowl. One of the things you can do is run your lather just a little drier than you might normally do, and so that will give you just a little bit extra cushioning. It may, you know, not make your lathers quite as hydrated or slick as you might, you know, normally want them, but it might protect you against brush burn a little bit. Now you can see there's a little bit of pitting around. You can see the layer. It's definitely not as slick as I usually like to take it. But if we give it time to work in with my face, and let's just go ahead and add a little bit of water. If we give it time to really kind of bond with my skin, then it can still do a good bit of protecting, even though it's not as slick as we might want. And you can see how, man, 30 seconds of loading with this brush, I definitely didn't quite need that much. Trying to keep the water down at the tips. This is just something I kind of feel like logically I like to do. So many times when I've added water to the brush, it goes down to the handle and comes out the base of the knot. I don't want it. I don't want that. Oh, this is a much better lather now. The creaminess is there. You know what? I think this is really going to be a good brush when it softens up. The coverage, the feel is really nice. I think it's, man, the boar brushes, the stunning thing about them is that they can maybe cost 18 bucks, 15 bucks, 20 bucks for a brush that can last your lifetime of shaving at least, you know, and just get better and better with every use for that little bit of money. It just takes a little bit of patience in the break-in, and of course they're not as not as full and dense as the Badgers, and often not as soft. But tell you what, I've heard and I firmly believe once the tips really split, that I'm going to be able to enjoy some boars that are softer than many Badgers. Looking forward to that. All right, let's get this thing done. From north to south is my with the grain on my cheeks. And I do have this feather blade in this razor, and it is being tuggy. But this is a blade that has been used a good many times. Now normally I like to kind of buff a little bit with the old blades, but I've discovered a lot more comfort is available. Usually, if I just, on the first pass, cover everything once. I don't do very much buffing, which is difficult for me because my muscle memory, that's just my way of shaving, and so it's kind of hard to break that habit. All right, let's put on that second pass. Man, I love how good soaps like this can, it doesn't take a lot to give you a really good lather, and they can work dry, a little on the dry side, or fill them full of water and you're rewarded with slickness like this. And this can even, take a little bit more water for sure. Don't have to scrub too much now that it's the second pass, so mainly painting strokes and just kind of feeling the brush. I'm not really feeling too much prickle. Since the last time I used it, I soaked it for kind of half a day and then let it dry. So I put it kind of through a wet and dry cycle without actually shaving with it. And see now, this razor is very comfortable. This feather blade, more than 50 uses, and it is just fine. My face is not remembering the tugginess of that first pass. And so all I have to do is just remember not to buff too much so that pass is kind of quick and done. And then it's a piece of cake for the rest of the time. There's a little bit of blade feel, but just not very much at all. This President shave's great. I'm really happy with it. This is just my second shave with it, I think. All right, third pass. Definitely could have gotten away with a 20-second load. I'm getting a little bit of scent, not a lot. I do have the aftershave for this. I'm not going to use it today. And oh, that lather is so good. Elastic, hydrated, slick. The rinses have just been amazing. The slick feel and the little bit of creamy viscosity has been a luxurious experience. Scent strength is maybe 3 out of 10, just very light. So that means it's actually a little difficult to pull out many of the scent notes that are mentioned. There we go. Just continuing to keep a really light touch. Man, that feels really good. Very nice. No irritation, no cuts. Nothing like that today. It would go pretty fast. But I went slow at first. Years ago, when I was starting, just like so many other sports and hobbies and things that involve skill. Take your time, let your muscles learn the right way and the slow way. If it doesn't come naturally, a few people out there it might. And then gradually you'll get used to the pressure, you'll get used to the angle, you'll get used to strategizing which direction to come at, and then it will gradually speed up. All right. Yeah, let's do a full rinse. The closeness, very good today. Man, I like this President. It is a better shaver for me than the Aristocrat, which it bears a striking resemblance to. The Aristocrat looks pretty much the same. Sometimes around this band right here, it doesn't have the knurling. It has something a little different. Then the plating with the Aristocrat is the gold colored plating, and where this is probably rhodium, I think, something like that, or chrome. Just terrific. I think it's a beautiful piece, as well as being an amazing workhorse, and just riding that line, giving you close shaves with a good level of comfort. I don't really feel the blade all that much. It's a really good shave. Now my face is still a little bit wet, so I'm going to use some of this Lather and Wood Sandalwood. It's a balm. Now I don't really know. I got this years ago when I started kind of wet shaving, and I really discovered that I like this particular kind of authentic style sandalwood scent. It doesn't have a lot of other stuff with it, and I really like it. I don't know how Lather and Wood has come along. I think they're still available on Amazon. I don't know if they have, been absorbed or bought out or changed hands or anything like that. But this is a nice authentic sandalwood balm that I enjoy. All right. Oh man, you know what? I meant to try to smell this and try to describe to you some of the notes that are coming out, but I don't think lemon jumped out at me. Maybe a little bit of the lavender, as I try to remember. And then I think the other parts, sandalwood, orange, amber, I may have been able to discern some black pepper. Rosemary were just kind of hints. And I don't think really lavender was all that dominant either. And so I think it was just a nice kind of even blend of a lot of those notes. And I wish it was a little bit stronger, because it seems like something I'd really enjoy. But I think I'm going to keep this around because the Bison soap base is kind of has been deprecated in favor of the milk steak. So I think I need to treasure my Bison soaps. Now something else will probably come along. But look at that lather, that right there. Here it comes. It's slipping around the brush. This is some good stuff. Just kind of showing you the viscosity so that you can, if you want to take a Bison soap, to this kind of level, then you can. So one of the things I look for is gravity to affect the middle part. Cause some little drooping there. That sort of thing. A nice long stretch. Look at that. And it's going to fall. It's not holding on to itself. To me, this is the perfect lather consistency. The perfect lather consistency. Luxurious and creamy, but really well hydrated and slick. I almost feel like my face and hands have been to some kind of spa treatment, to be honest with you. And I'm just looking for it to be a good soap. Okay, I'm not looking for with the milk steak and with Excelsior from Barrister and Mann and some of the other newer bases. They're putting a lot of ingredients in there to help with moisturizing, and folks with dry skin are going to enjoy that. I've heard from some guys who can tell a big difference if they use a soap with a moisturizer combined with their moisturizer after the shave. Their skin feels a lot better than a normal soap and then a moisturizer for the folks with seriously dry skin. But for me, I'm just looking for a soap. Well, this way I get a soap and all kinds of other good things. So the scent was kind of low, like I said, maybe 3 out of 10. The razor was tremendous. The blade was a little bit tuggy, but it is old. And I decided to use it just to see if maybe this razor would perhaps be one that I could carry on with this feather for a little while longer. I used something recently. I think the Fat Boy maybe used the feather pretty well. So I might go back to it whenever I want to revisit this feather. I've been talking about my Nasset blade that's had 220 uses. Been talking about it online. Chris from Another Cut Above, if I'm getting the words right. He's over in the other side of the world, and he is somebody I enjoy watching. He's a face latherer, so you might be able to learn from him if you're interested in the face. I'm primarily a bowl latherer, and he made a remark about the Nasset. He saw one of my videos, and so along with some other people, I've been talking a little bit about that one. So I think I'm gonna plan to do another 10 shaves and bring it up to 230 if I can. It's really taking kind of a noticeable quality hit after it hit 200, maybe around 205 or something. I really noticed that I was struggling to find a razor for it. So I guess I need to be organized, get together a list of my razors and which ones I've tried it in at this age. It's so funny the way blade edges work. So look for that in the upcoming weeks. We'll put another if I can, put another 10 uses on it. Oh, that sandalwood smells so good. I love that. All right, well, thumbs up, small thumbs up from me for the 2017 limited edition DFS, and the feather. Like I said, a little tuggy on the first pass, but fine after that. And so most people aren't going to want to tolerate that kind of tugginess when they can just pitch that little cheap blade. But I definitely got comfortable shaves with it up until about 40 uses, and 35 or 40 uses. And so if you think feather blades are a little expensive, well, if you work on your technique, and you can use feather blades and make them inexpensive by using them so many times instead of just 3 times or 5 times. All right, well, I'm a happy camper with today's shave. I really noticed a reduction in the amount of prickle that I got from this brush. I'm going to remove most of the water by, number one, I flicked it out in the sink. And then I'm stropping it up and down. And one thing I'll do is I'll strop it up and down a few strokes, turn it 90 degrees. So that way we're kind of covering the different sides of the knot. That way we can get this guy to start that dry cycle. And there are some black hairs in here, and they have split. And so I was always curious if the black ones split, and they have been. So hey, there's a split tip right there. So I'm really happy with all these splits. And man, if I can get that prickle to go away, I'll shave with this guy a lot and get him caught up with the other ones. That would be great. Because I like the amount of boar hairs, the amount of tips that are touching you is really nice. When it's spread over a good area and it's dense enough, it feels very good on my face, and I like that instead of being kind of sparse, so I think I'm going to really like this brush. Hey, so today, 4 teaspoons of water was used, and I could have definitely used more. 5 teaspoons, definitely, maybe even more than that. Often at the end of my shave, I will smell the soap after I've had my post-shave on my face already. It's very interesting to see how the scent changes, because as the sandalwood balm on me affects my nose, it affects my perception with my nose. And so then I don't know exactly how it works. Maybe it takes away a little bit of the sandalwood that might be in here and you start smelling the other notes. Right now I can definitely pick out the some amber, the black pepper, and a little bit of rosemary. I'm not really getting the lemon, the sandalwood, or the orange. I think I'm getting the lavender, but having that sandalwood around my face, I think is really bringing around that black pepper. But the black pepper, and sometimes black peppers put me off, but it is used skillfully in this mix, in my opinion. It is a noticeable note at this point, but the other guys are around him, and the amber is sweetening him up a little bit, and I think the rosemary is making him a little bit more like an herb instead of just a peppery type scent. The lavender's probably bringing just a hair of sweetness in as well. I like it. I like it a lot. You want to know a great benefit of wet lathers? Clean razors. I just don't get soap buildup in my razors at all. All it takes, just a little bit of work with a towel after each one, just to get the moisture. There's no, after a good rinse, any reasonable rinse, there's no lather in there at all, no residue, and just a little bit of wipe down. Well, it's time to hit the sack. Great shave today, and I hope there was something in here for you. This is Sugar Daddy Shaves. You take care. Good night.